Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. I am delighted to be joined with Melanie Thompson with her fantastic movie, 2 Weeks Notice. But for those that haven't seen it, let's take a look at the clip.
I'm over here.
Okay. I got here as soon as I could. What's going on?
Something's dead. I'm sorry, Jenny. I fell really hard.
What, like on your head? What is going on?
The baby needs to be with the mommy right now.
My sweet little African dwarf is not going to come from a broken home. He's been through enough.
And I know how spontaneity makes you anxious, so I just wanted to plan it so we wouldn't have to feel bad about it.
Melanie, really happy to have you, and thank you for being part of our virtual film festival, and thank you for bringing this brilliant story, 2 Weeks Notice. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
Hi, thank you, Danny. So happy to be here and so honored to be here. I mean, all of the films were so incredible. I was really like, wow, we're in such amazing company. It was very humbling. 2 Weeks Notice is a comedy about a man who gives his girlfriend 2 weeks notice on breaking up with her. Goes from there.
I mean, listen, I mean, it was a harsh film to watch, it really was. And I was just, but a brilliant idea. I dare I ask, where did the inspiration come from in making the film?
That's a good question. So Marissa Hood, who plays the female lead, Jenny, is also the writer of the film. Mm-hmm. She's hilarious. She's brilliant. And now she's one of my best friends. We worked together on my first film, a film called Charlie, a couple of years back, and which I wrote and directed, and she starred in. And from there, we were just like, we love to work together. So I think Marissa had started writing for a class. We're both actors. I've always been a writer as well, but she was sort of dipping her toes into the writing world, and showed me the script, and she was like, and I want you to direct it. And I was like, yes, please. It's hilarious. So it's funny, I think she just was brainstorming one day and came up with the idea and went from there.
Well, hands down to both of you and the team that you've created together, because honestly, I was like, it's so nice. Like, you kept us in one space. The script was so good. The direction, the way the actors were performing and playing off each other, it was so good. I just wanted just to stay there. I didn't need to go anywhere else, any interruption. I just loved this script and this story. It was just so engaging. And I love that, obviously, she, as you said, she is hilarious. How do you, I'm just so curious from your perspective, Melanie, how do you go about, directing someone that has wrote the piece, that is also in it, and then kind of working with that sort of quick banter, back and forth comedy? Because you did a great job. It really, everyone got to the pinpoint of the moment. So I loved it. I'm just curious what your process was.
Sure. Well, I think it helps to really find your teammates, people you really collaborate with well. And I think that's a big reason why Marissa asked me to direct. She already knew that I had some experience directing and wanted to continue to do it. And we're friends, so she knew she could I would honor her vision and work with her, but also, have my own input, my own point of view. And she just knew that they would gel well together since we've already worked together. So I think that really helped. But I think she definitely trusted me to honor what she's written. And, if she wanted to pull me aside and say, I really kind of want to do this, she would feel comfortable doing that. And if I was like, well, I really want to do this, we'd be able to have that conversation, which I think was really, really helpful. And and we worked together too, in terms of I like to storyboard, and I also did a previs of the entire thing before. So we kind of did a draft almost, shot it on my iPhone and had another one of our friends stand in and literally just shot the film on my iPhone just to sort of get a sense of the kind of shots I wanted and the pacing and the timing. And that gave us a lot of room to sort of come in on the day. It was a 1-day shoot, and really know exactly what was working. And I think that helped a lot to just be really, really prepared and sort of have already gone through it to find those really funny moments and the type of shots that could really bring out the humor and things like that.
I mean, it was, you know, again, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like, I love it when something's so well written and that the actors are just playing off each other and just captivating these moments. Like, it's really magical to watch. Now, when you're like, working, I mean, the thing is, like, what fascinates me too is this script is so unique. Like, I've never seen this done, and I'm almost like, what would it be like if you're someone you're with is giving you 2 weeks notice, and on one hand, I'm like, well, I guess in some respects it's a better closure than a horrible closure, but in other ways it's horrible. Like, what were your kind of thoughts, like, when you got this script? Because it's so bizarre, but you're kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's just, we've never seen this before, but it must be fun to work on something like this, like on this particular genre. Did you kind of, I mean, what was the kind of moments like on set? Like, did you kind of discover improvisation on set, or was it kind of well rehearsed? Like, how was the dynamic? Because comedy's a hard thing to hit, and you definitely hit it.
Yeah, wow. It was so fun to work on. When I read the script, like, I also know like Marissa's sense of humor. And so it was just all over in this script. And a lot of, I like things that are like slightly heightened reality a little bit. So like the ridiculousness of this, the ferret and the frog and, where in the Midwest you're going and that kind of thing. I really loved that we could really play that up, but also balance it with some of the more real moments where it's not just a big punchline. There's sort of an underlying message underneath it, maybe he is doing the right thing, maybe you shouldn't just settle in relationships. And if something's not working, you don't just ignore it and go on as usual just because you already live together or what have you, So I really liked the fact that the script provided that opportunity to really explore that theme, even have it heightened with all the humor and things like that. So that was a lot of fun to play off of. And in terms of the actors, like Mickey Schiff, who plays the boyfriend, he and Marissa, I believe, went to a class together. She's the one who cast him. And so I think they already had a bit of a dynamic. It's funny, when I met him, I was kind of like, I'm not sure, not because of his acting skills or anything, but just because I was like, I'm just not sure if he's what I had in mind for the character.
Yeah.
And then having him read for it, I was like, oh, nope, he is perfect.
I love it.
I mean, things really, I think we did prepare a lot because, again, we knew we had a one-day shoot, had to get it done. That we prepared a lot beforehand so that, on the day we kind of knew what we were getting. But then, of course, there's always moments that come up that surprise you when you're shooting, which is what you want, and little things that he would do, little movements he would make and faces that he would make. And I was like, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. We would, like, a lot of times, like, everyone behind the scenes would have to like hold their mouths and not laugh because of this crazy stuff that he was doing, crazy things Marissa was doing too. So it was just fun. We just had a lot of fun shooting it. And I think that was the best thing about it for me.
Well, I think it's amazing what you can do in a day, and obviously the hard work and prep that you put into it determines how it's, how it turns out. But like, I mean, taking it aside a notch, like, I wasn't really looking for the sort of, necessarily the sentimental value, but I mean, like, a lot of relationships end up in a lot of heartache and a lot of pain and sadness and upset. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, if only we were mature enough as human beings to be like, okay, well, here's our notice and let's, carefully do that. But usually we're not as good at doing that as human beings. But I did kind of like that kind of concept of like, oh, let's do things like, without trying to, well, of course we're always going to hurt each other, but it just felt kind of an interesting perspective, especially as it's normally obviously what you do for a job. Listen, I know, Melanie, you're obviously working on many other different projects and projects obviously lasting longer. And I'm just curious because we're so happy to have you as an alumni at NewFilmmakers LA, and we're so grateful for Marissa and her great acting and also writing. But I'm just curious for you as a director, what kind of drives you? What inspires you? What content do you want to continue to create, and what is your, you know, what drives you to be, you know, the artist that you are?
Well, first of all, again, thank you so much. So happy to be a part of New Filmmakers and so honored. I've always been a writer first and foremost, I think. Like as a kid, I just was always making up stories in my head and always telling stories and you know, watching movies and just really loved being moved by what I was seeing. And whether it was, oh, I want to feel this one day, or, oh, I felt that before and someone else has felt that same thing. And honestly, that's so much of what drives me as a filmmaker, as a writer. It's why, and then I went to Emerson College and got a degree in acting because I want to have a hand in all of it. I'm like, I want to act, I want to write, I want to act, I want to learn how to edit one day. So, you know, the next project I'm working on, I wrote a short called The Package that we're in pre-production for right now. Very different from 2 Weeks Notice. It's more of a drama, again, in that sort of heightened reality, a little bit magic realism is something I'm finding I really, really love to work in. Gives me so much space to sort of explore themes in a different way, a lot of freedom to play around. So I'm really excited about this. This is a short that, again, I wrote, and I'm not going to be directing it this time, but I'll be starring in it. And yeah, and just love making films about human connection and hopefully making things that people can look at and say, oh, I felt that before, you know, I'm not alone in that. So that's a big thing that drives me.
I love how you said that, you know, because I honestly think it can never be understated that you want to get a hand in everything to sort of understand and appreciate as well as learn as well. But like, I think that's such an important element that I think many people need to do, but they don't do. And I love that you've got in front, behind camera and all that kind of stuff. I can't wait to see something you've edited next. I'm going to make sure that happens too. But like, I mean, did you find that's a really, like for you personally in your kind of growth as an artist, you find that quite an important factor for you personally to sort of understand these different dimensions in terms of like, because I think it really helps whatever role you're taking. If you understand these different dimensions, it actually helps you with the project you're working on, whatever your role you're doing, doesn't it? Do you think?
It definitely does. I mean, I feel like if I wasn't an actor, I feel like that's the best thing I love about directing. And I mean, that's always evolving and I'm learning so much. But the first thing I ever directed, that was what I realized I loved about it. I loved working with actors because I'm an actor and I know how to talk to actors. You know, there are plenty of even amazing directors out there who, you know, will be like, do it more mad. And, you know, it's kind of, you know,
you're right.
Yeah. And it's great to see that you can talk to somebody and find a way to figure out what triggers them in their mind to sort of get them to achieve a certain thing you want. So that's an aspect of it that I really love. And it's such a balance for me too, between being like, oh, I want to be able to do it all. And then also realizing that filmmaking is such a collaboration and sort of surrendering to the fact that you have to take other people's input. You can't do it all. Like I don't have much of a, I don't know much about camera work. So that's something I'm learning, but I'm also like, it's important to, you know, find the DP that I really like or whoever I'm working with and like trusting them and letting them have ownership over this thing too. That's a part of the story. And I want people I work with to also feel that they're not just, oh, I'm just doing this as a job, but I have input and I have agency. And I think that's so important because obviously we all have our blind spots and things are better when it's not just one person being like, I did everything, because you can definitely miss things or make mistakes or not realize something that you just can't see. So
absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely right in terms of the collaborative effort as well. And I you know, I know you're triple, quadruple threat with all these different areas of expertise, which is really, really great. And I'm just, you know, obviously we've got a filmmaking audience. So I'm just curious from your perspective, Melanie, in your career thus far, like what, is there any piece of advice that you can kind of share with our audience, that things that maybe you go by that could help them on their journey?
Oh man. I think the biggest thing that helped me is to just do it. Because I think, and to not be so precious with everything, something I'm still working on very much myself. it's easy to hold something that you've written or that you've worked on for a long time very dear and say, well, I don't want to do it until I'm this good or until I've graduated from this school or whatever it is. And sometimes it really, you just do it. And it might not be great. Like who maybe it was Tarantino, someone like that. It was like, you got 10 bad films in you, you know, which may or may not be true, but I think you just have to start somewhere and just to start to do it. And then, I mean, I remember the first time that I was on my first set and I was like, I did it. I brought all these people here and they're telling the story that I put together and it's possible and I can do it again, you know? So I think just doing it and just, you know, stealing from Nike.
Yes, but you know, adding something so important to that, artists can be the biggest procrastinators, you know, and just, you know, hold themselves back and, oh, like you say, I can't do this until I'm at this level. I'm like, no, like, you know, we could be here, or, you know, we've only got limited time on this planet, you know, we gotta do the best that we can. So, well, Melanie, I know you gave us a day's worth of a brilliant project, and I'm so glad you know, directed it, and you've got a great relationship, Marissa, and a great team there. But please keep making more films for us. I know you've got some projects in the work right now, so we'd love to have more of your work now you're alumni at NewFilmmakers LA. But thank you for 2 weeks notice. I hope no one ever does that to their partner and not expect to, you know, if you're a guy, do it to you. If you're a guy, do that to your girlfriend, then, you know, deserve a slap around the face. That's all I'm saying, you know, just to put it out there, because you don't even try it. But no, it was a brilliant, really great concept of a film. So thank you so much, Melanie.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.